Does Budda Baker want to be a Philadelphia Eagle? We're going to follow the breadcrumbs, follow the paper trail, because it seems apparent that he wants to be in the midnight green and not out there in the desert for that dysfunctional franchise. You're watching Philadelphia Eagles Now by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Sr. Thank you so much for being here with us. And the Cardinals star safety reportedly has not been happy with the situation with Arizona for a really long time. He had requested a trade. His agent said a couple of weeks ago that he will be participating in offseason activities with training camp set to begin here in just a little while. And here's the latest on one of the best all-around defensive players in the NFL. Safety has been linked to the Eagles for months here. The Eagles have a need at that safety spot. They now have cap space to absorb that contract, and Howie Roseman is always aggressive. He's not happy with his current contract situation with the Cardinals. He wants to be compensated like one of the best safeties in the NFL, which is what he is. The weird thing is he signed an extension very recently, and he has sent out multiple tweets and has made numerous comments about the Eagles throughout this entire offseason. So let's follow the paper trail here, and you can be the investigator, and we'll put our journalist hats on here. In February, Budda Baker said in an interview during Super Bowl week that he would love to play with Nick Sirianni. The quote as to what he said coming up here in just a moment. Then a couple of months later, he congratulated Jalen Hurts on getting a contract extension. He was just seen working out with Kelee Ringo, the Eagles' fourth-round pick, who they moved up to take. Kelee Ringo, by the way, looking pretty swole. Could he play safety at some point? And then he discussed the other day the Eagles' quarterback sneak on Twitter, the tush push, which a lot of teams across the NFL do not like, as Dallas Goedert talked about on Pardon My Take. We discussed that earlier this week right here on Eagles Now. So here is that quote from Budda Baker on Nick Sirianni in February. Something that I really like, that Eagles coach. He's just who he is. Just seeing that definitely is special as a player. And then when Jalen Hurts got the bag, making him the highest paid quarterback in the history of the NFL at the time, back in April, Budda Baker congratulated him on Twitter. He said, "Hard work always prevails. Congrats to Jalen Hurts. Best thing about a guy like him is that the work never stops." And then he said this earlier this week about the Eagles quarterback sneak. "I remember almost killing myself the two times they did this to the Cardinals last year. I was a post player trying to shoot that A-gap to cause a stop on 3rd and 4th and 1 and cause everyone. And because everyone knew what they were going to do, I got my ass trampled both times, and they converted both times." By the way, the Eagles on that play converted on more than 91% of their attempts on that conversion. No fear, though, he continued by saying, "Not smart of me either, but hey, I just wanted to win." And that type of attitude, that type of fearlessness would certainly work very well in the midnight green. And then there's this photo of him working out this week with Eagles draft pick Kelee Ringo, who, by the way, has still not signed his rookie contract. Eagles training camp does begin on July 25th, as we are less than 2 weeks away. And with training camp coming up around the corner, it's right on the horizon, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you subscribe to the show. As you can see here, we're one of the most successful Eagles channels on YouTube. Join the Eagles Now community as we approach 50,000 subscribers, and hit that sub button right now. The question then becomes with Budda Baker, could the Eagles even make it work? They do have $13.6 million in cap space, and Budda Baker this upcoming season is one of the highest paid safeties in the league. He checks in at 7th. $14.7 million. So the Eagles could pull off an easy restructure. They could afford Baker. He's behind Derwin James, Minkah Fitzpatrick, Jamal Adams, Jesse Bates, Harrison Smith, and Justin Simmons. He wants to get compensated even more so that his average annual value is up there as probably a top 5 highest paid safety. So the Eagles would have to clear up about $1 million to take on that contract, but to trade for him, they do have draft assets at their disposal. A first-round pick, 2 second-round picks in the 2024 draft, a third-round comp pick. They pick again with 4 selections in the 5th round, 3 of those compensatory picks, 6th-round selection, and another 6th-round pick. So they do have the draft compensation to maybe hit up the Arizona Cardinals and convince them to trade away Budda Baker, especially if he doesn't want to be there for an organization that is not ready to win right now. And Budda, a dog, wants to win right now. So this is today's poll question. Let's ask the audience here. Should the Eagles trade for Budda Baker? And if you were in the shoes of Howie Roseman, would you make this move? I want to hear from everybody down in the comment section right now because this dude certainly is a fascinating player, as evidenced by the numbers we're about to show you. Because coming up in just a few moments, we're going to talk about Baker's versatility. We're going to talk about what makes him a weapon and a look at the numbers and his snap alignment from last year with Arizona. But first, today's show is sponsored by ZBiotics. Great deal. If you head to zbiotics.com/chatsports, you can see for yourself by using that QR code that will continue to stay on the screen. Let's face it, after y'all hit me with a bunch of super chats, I don't bounce back great the next day. That is until I found ZBiotics. ZBiotics is a pre-alcohol probiotic, and it is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. And here's how it works. It's really fascinating. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. It's this byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for your rough next day. ZBiotics produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down, and it's designed to work like your liver, but in your gut where you need it the most. Drink ZBiotics before drinking alcohol. Drink responsibly and get a good night's sleep to feel your best tomorrow. If you are to order ZBiotics, it comes in a package like this, and this is a look at what the bottle looks like. Very easy to travel with. I was in Austin, Texas last weekend and had an awesome time. I was drinking a lot of beers, listening to some live music, paddleboarding on the lake. Needed to take that so that I could bounce back well the next day so that I could be ready for work come Monday. So it's zbiotics.com/chatsports or scan the QR code on the screen to get 15% off. Once again, 15% off your first order when you use our code ChatSports at checkout. You can also sign up for a subscription as well so you can stay prepared no matter the time or the occasion. ZBiotics back with the 100% money-back guarantee. So if you're unsatisfied for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. It's zbiotics.com/chatsports. Promo code ChatSports. We'll put that link in the comment section and in the description of this video. You can use that QR code here on the screen as well. Budda's snap alignment last year in 2022 for Arizona here. He is a guy who can play all over the football field. Free safety, he was able to log 413 snaps. In the slot, 148 snaps. He was a box safety, 349 snaps, and he was on the defensive line, 41 snaps. This goes to show you that he can be a chess piece, a versatile weapon for this Philadelphia Eagles defense, and a guy who Sean Desai can use all around the field in a very C.J. Gardner-Johnson type of manner. When C.J. Gardner-Johnson was playing with the Saints prior to getting traded to Philadelphia, he had only played like 80-plus snaps at safety, but more than 1,000 snaps at slot cornerback. And we saw last year, even though he missed a lot of time, he was tied for the NFL league lead in interceptions last year. And Budda Baker, you look at the numbers that he's put up the last 4 years, a consistently available player and a consistently productive player. He's always going to be a tackling machine, more than 100 tackles in 3 of the last 4 years. A lot of tackles for loss because he can thrive around that line of scrimmage. 6 pass breakups at least over the last 4 years, and a couple of interceptions thrown in there as well. And then you take a gander at his Pro Football Focus numbers. Now, sometimes these analytics, I believe, are a little bit overrated because they don't tell the full story. When a guy can line up at safety, linebacker, slot, you can send him home on some of those blitz packages as well. He can put his fingerprints all across the game, and sometimes the analytics don't back up the overall impact that he does have on a team. Overall grade last year, 73.7. League average is about 70. Run defense grade of 80.2 and a coverage grade of 69.1. But could that coverage grade be a little bit better with Philadelphia because their defensive line is so good, generating pressure, which makes the back end's job in turn a lot easier. And then you segue to this talking point. I like Reed Blankenship. The Terrell Edmunds acquisition in free agency was a very cost-controlled, cost-effective acquisition to bring him in as a former first-round pick who's looking to get on the right track in his NFL career after getting off to somewhat of a disappointing start. Those players, though, they are not Budda Baker, and safety is a position of concern for the Birds on the defensive side of the ball. You lost your 2 starting safeties, 2 starting backers, you lost Javon Hargrave, and while I think this defense can be good, and I'm excited to see what Sean Desai is going to be able to do, the safety position is a question mark. Like, I think Edmonds is going to be able to play. Reed Blankenship last year was a baller, but again, they can't bring you what Budda Baker would be able to bring you. And you look at this Eagles secondary. I think that, once again, this is going to be a solid team here. Darius Slay, James Bradbury is your outside cornerbacks. Avonte Maddox lined up in the slot at that nickel spot. Edmonds, Blankenship, they signed Justin Evans, and yes, they did draft Sidney Brown in the 3rd round. Solid depth pieces. Kevon Wallace did not miss a tackle last year either, but again, Budda Baker is a guy who would certainly improve this team for a team that has Super Bowl aspirations, and we know Howie Roseman is always aggressive, looking to go all in. So, last question here for the audience for this particular segment, as we are live right now on Eagles Now. Grade Budda Baker as a player, 1 to 100. I know a lot of you out there like to play Madden, so have some fun with the Madden rating here. And if you want to interact with me on Twitter, Instagram, you can find me there. It's the same handle on both social media platforms, at Chase_Senior. Don't be a stranger. Slide in the DMs. Say what's up. Let's talk some Birds. I appreciate you for supporting the program, and don't forget to subscribe.